your basic area. You want it to be about 4 feet wide because you can reach that from either side without walking on it. But it can be as long as you want it to be. But 4 feet seems to be optimum. And once you've decided where it's going to be, if the grass and weeds are very high, I would mow them down, but you don't have to remove them. You can just plant right on top of your grass. And your first layer is going to be wet newspaper or cardboard. And you want it to be wet because that will start the decomposition faster. This is all about, it's composting, it's sheet composting. It's about starting that process. Sheet. I got sheet. Sheet too. So your first layer, if you have rough vegetation or trimmings from your garden or whatever, you can put pretty rough stuff down as your first layer. The weight of everything else is going to press that down, and it will decompose. I would be careful about using very weedy plants with a lot of seeds, but you can, at the bottom, use some of that. Yeah, it's gone. It's bolted. So it's great for, this time of year is great because you can clean up your garden and use it in your lasagna bed. Between each layer, you want to include peat moss. That helps hold moisture in and provides the nutrient value as well. It's kind of the glue that binds this whole thing. I would buy it by the bale. This is just a small bag, but I would just go ahead and get a bale. You can get 2 or 3 lasagna beds out of one bale. It's not very expensive. So I'd have peat. You've got a layer basically of dried product in your newspaper, a layer of green, and then you want to do brown, green, brown, green, brown, green, and your material tells you what is brown and what is green. Basically dried and fresh. I've used a layer of straw in here. I've used a layer of grass clippings, leaves. You can use rough compost that's not completely cooked. But as you get to the top, you want to stop using the rougher material and kind of finish up with the finer material. So this is a lot, this is some grass trimmings.
How many layers?
Well, you want it to be about 18 inches deep when you finish, because it will shrink down as it decomposes.
And no side?
You don't have to have a side. You can build a side if you want for neatness. You can use cinder blocks, hay bales, boards, or you can just let it naturally slope to the ground. That's usually what I do. It's just less expensive. Plus, this is very mobile. If I get tired of my garden in this place, I can just take all this off, and the soil beneath it is still there, and I can do whatever I want.
Well, here's one of my concerns. I live right off the golf course, so I know that there are lots of chemicals. Do you think that this barrier will block out this?
Well, the chemicals, unless the chemicals are in your stack, they won't affect you. Yeah, so they're spraying weed killer and grass things and all, but they won't be spraying your lasagna. Yeah, so this will be fine. This will be fine. Okay, cool. So you end up with some compost and some peat moss on the top, and then when you're ready to plant it, you can build your layers and plant that day. And you just pull,
really?
Yes, you just pull it apart, put your plant in, like I've done here, and then make a little pocket and then firm that back around. Because it's only in the fine layers right now, and as the roots grow out of that layer down into this rough stuff is decomposing, so it will be fine and healthy. It won't be a problem.
And what can you plant this time of year?
Well, this time of year you can plant cool season vegetables like your kales and cabbages, your greens. You can plant pansies, cool season flowers. But what you probably want to do this time of year is build your bed and let it decompose over the winter. And then in the spring, this 18 inches will be about 10 inches, and it will be just pure compost. And you're ready to go in the spring.
Cool. I've got my light stuff planted in a area. I was asking about wood chips, where I have decomposed wood chips. What else do I need to do to it? Put that peat moss.
Peat moss, you want to put, your wood chips are dry and brown, so you want to add some green material, grass clippings, fresh vegetation, leaves that have not completely turned, so that you get, you need that balance of green and brown, fresh and dried, to start the process of decomposition. The wood chips will eventually decompose on their own, but it will take longer.
Well, they've been there a year.
Yeah, yeah. And so you just want to get that
I
process
noticed they're
going.
not going as fast as I was hoping they would.
Yeah, yeah. That's because you only have dried in there. So you need a balance of green and dry to make them really decompose. That will get it going.
And where can you get that corn?
Well, I think Martin's carries it in season, and probably in the spring you'll find it easier when products are being sold for the gardening season. Right now I can only find peat moss. So you just have to ask and ask them to get it for you at local nurseries. See if they'll carry it. COIR. It's a byproduct of the coconut industry.
COIR.
You're welcome. Thanks for giving us